Hey, what's up? Welcome to Yari Hearts Books. My name is Yari, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about all the books I read this winter. I am currently filming this on the first day of spring, so that'll be a good time to wrap up everything that I've read during the winter time, because I think I like doing these TBRs and wrap-ups seasonally instead of monthly, just because it gives you a little more wiggle room. So yeah, so I'm going to be talking about all the books I read this winter. So that's from the end of December until now. So let's just get started. So the first book, so obviously it's going to be Christmas books in this because end of December. So the first book I'm going to talk about is actually going to look at my Goodreads, because I do remember the rating for most of these books. So the first book I'm going to talk about is In the Holidays by Christina Lauren. So this book is basically about, I have to remember what these books are about. It's basically about, what was her name? So this is about Mei Lin. Her life isn't going according to plan, and this is basically how literally everyone described it, a Groundhog Day situation. It only happens like a few times where she is on holiday with her friends and family, and stuff happens and she keeps having to repeat the vacation until she gets it right. So yeah, there's a romance, there's the whole element with like repeating the same day, there's Christmas. So I ended up giving this 4 out of 5 stars. So I enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I did The Honeymooners by Christina Lauren. I don't know, I felt like the vibe was a little different, and I didn't vibe with it as much as I did with The Honeymooners. So yes, also a little bit of smut, if that's something that you look for in books. The next book that I read, I don't know. So it was in December. I wanted to reach my Goodreads goal, and I was just adding like different books. So I read, and it was Christmas. So I read The Legend of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer by Joe Tarana. I'll put a picture here. So I think I gave it 5 stars. I didn't rate it. It was fine. It was short. It was the story we all know of Rudolph. So yeah, I ended up not reading it. Next book I read to finish off, to reach my Goodreads goal, and also needed something simple, short, easy, because at the end of December I got COVID. So I thought I was gonna be able to like read all these books. Yeah, that wasn't the case. I was really sick. So on New Year's Eve I read Sailor V Volume 1. So this is basically how Sailor V came to be, and her adventures that she went on before she found the other Sailor Scouts, and her, you know, just being Sailor V. So did I rate this? I usually don't rate mangas, well, Sailor Moon mangas, because I feel like they're all just like I love. So yeah, I didn't rate it. But what I do remember is that there's this scene where she talks about why she wears a bow, and I was like, I'm like, that's a reason. It's like really Mina, but then it's also like that's a Mina thing to do. So if you know, you know of why she wears a bow in her hair. I remember I texted my friend Carleni and I was like, really Mina? Okay, so those were all the books I read at the end of December. So this next book, House of Salt and Sorrows by Erin A. Craig, I started in December but I finished in January, and this is the only book that I ended up finishing in January, because again, I had COVID, I was sick, so I didn't read much. But yes, I read House. I remember I started this, or like I was towards the beginning, right at Christmas, on Christmas Eve. I remember. Anyways, So this is basically a 12 dancing princesses retelling with a dark twist, and it's not as dark or creepy as people make it out to seem, but it is on the creepier side. There's a bit of like, I don't know, of an element, especially because I think it's 3, so there's 12 sisters and 3 of them have died mysteriously, and yes, it was about trying to figure out if there is a curse on their family and what's happening to their sisters, and them trying to kind of move on. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of twists and turns, especially towards the end. That was one thing, well, it was like 2 things I didn't see coming. So I enjoyed this more than other people. I feel like a lot of people did not enjoy this. I feel like maybe it's because the other people have gotten into this thinking that it's really, really creepy when it's not. It's slightly creepy. There's like a bit of a ghost situation, but it's not as creepy as people make it out. Well, it depends on what your level of creepy is. If you can stand a lot of creepy, then this isn't that creepy. If you get scared easily, then maybe this will be extremely creepy for you. But for me, it was fine. It wasn't too creepy. I gave this 4 stars. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I would honestly reread it if I decided to. Then in February, I had a way better reading month. I'm gonna start off with Rubble Rose by Emma, so I can pronounce her last name, Geralt. So this is the first book in the Queen's Consort series, and this is basically what happened after the end credits of Beauty and the Beast. So this follows Belle, the Beast, aka Leo, in the situation. And yeah, so at this time the French Revolution is like brewing, so they have to deal with that, and you know, the Beast coming back after being under a curse for so many years. And if you guys have seen my vlogs for this book, I think that I have 2 vlogs for it. One where I was like mainly reading it, and then another one where I finished it. So you guys know the struggle that I went through to read this book. I felt like it started out okay. In the middle, I don't know what happened in the middle. The ending was alright. I don't know what happened in the middle. Was not feeling it. It got boring. Not a lot was happening. Leo was gone. The Beast was gone for like most of the book, and feel like it, I don't know, I feel like it just could have been something greater, and it wasn't. It did not meet my expectations at all. We hardly got anything with any major scenes with Lumiere, Cockroach, and Mrs. Potts, which, you know, one of the like our major characters in Beauty and the Beast. We barely got any of them. We mostly got scenes from Belle interacting with these 2 new characters, and I'm like, do we really care about these new characters? I'm like, not really. So I'm like, I want more of Lumiere, Cockroach, and Mrs. Potts. That's what I'm here for. But I didn't get that. So so if you are looking for like a more, I don't know, like a little bit more with Belle and Leo's relationship, and I feel like she could have added more of that and still kept in a lot of the mystery and stuff about the French Revolution, because that was actually really interesting in the beginning, how she spoke about actual events that happened during the French Revolution in this book intertwined with Beauty and the Beast. That was actually very interesting, but then eventually it just missed the mark, at least for me. Please let me know if you have read this and what you thought about it, because I would love to know. I rated this 3 stars in Goodreads, but it's more like a 2.5. Yeah, so I am still planning on reading the next book in the Queen's Consort series, which I forgot the name of the book, and they're by different authors, so maybe. So the next one is a Mulan continuation, which is gonna be called Feather and Flame by Livia Blackburn. So yeah, I'm interested to see like her take on the continuation of Mulan, but I'm interested to see if it's gonna be right after the events of the first Mulan or the second Mulan. If you guys know, this is the second Mulan, which for a direct to video situation, Mulan 2 is not that bad, which in most cases direct to video sequels are not great. So yeah, back to what we're here for, which is a wrap-up of my winter book. So the next book I read in February, Blood Heir by Emily Wen Zhao. I still have trouble describing what this book is about. Okay, so in this world there's magic, and if I'm remembering correctly, the people with magic, they're like looked down upon, they're like considered like dangerous, I believe. Yeah, it could it literally says they're varied in the cult affinities. So the varied gifts to control the world around them are unnatural, dangerous. And then also this is an Anastasia retelling, so our main character's name is Anastasia, and she's the princess. There was so much that happened in this book. Like, it's pretty thick for a first book in a series. I'm just gonna read you this because I feel like it describes the book the best. So it just says, a princess with a deadly gift, a con man with no past and no future, an empire spiraling into chaos. It's time to choose a side. Honestly, this pretty much started off with action and then ended with action. It was pretty good. What did I rate it? I rated it 3 stars. So I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it. But I am interested to continue on with the series and see like where the story goes and what happens to Anastasia and this con man next. And also so much went down towards the end that I'm like, oh, I'm just remembering like everything that happened. Ooh. Yeah, a lot happened, a lot was revealed, and I'm interested to see like what happens next. Yeah, so if you guys haven't picked this up, I'll recommend, because a lot happened. Then the next book that I read was Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. This is the first book in the Grisha trilogy. I'll start off with the rating. What did I give this? I gave this 3 stars. So it wasn't completely horrible, but it wasn't amazing either. I went into this expecting the complete worst because just like of everything I hear about when people speak about this book. So I went in with like 0 expectations pretty much, and I ended up enjoying it more than I thought I was going to. Gave it 3 stars. But then again, this wasn't anything like amazing, but it wasn't as bad as people make it out to seem. But like, the story was interesting, some of the characters were interesting, and yeah, it was a pretty easy read to get through. It's not like that hard to get into and to read, and it was honestly just fun, like finally going into this world and like seeing like what other people talk about, like the Darkling and all of that. So that also made it fun. And I also feel like there's no need for like a synopsis, because I feel like everybody knows what this trilogy is about, because I feel like everyone but me has read this already. So yeah. Then the next book I read, was this also February? I'm pretty sure it was. So the last book I read in February was A Vow So Bold and Deadly by Bridget Kemmerer, the last book in the Curse Breakers trilogy, and this was so good. I loved it. I've heard like other people don't like this book. I loved it. I felt like it was such a fun time being with these characters again and just seeing how like everything in this story wrapped up. I will say that there was one thing that wrapped up too easily. It was solved too easily, and I'm like, there could have been more and like make it a bit of a struggle to accomplish this thing, but they did it like pretty easily, and I was like, oh, that's it. So yeah, but so much fun being with these characters again and being with Mara and Gray because I love them. They're so cute. And then just like seeing like Ren's perspective again, because we didn't get a lot of that in the second book, A Heart So Fierce and Broken, and there were some questionable things he did in A Heart So Fierce and Broken, so it was good to be in his perspective again to see like why he made certain decisions and stuff like that. So I loved it. What did I give it? I gave it like a 4.5 stars because that one thing that was wrapped up too easily took off half a star. But yeah, I loved it. If you guys haven't checked out the Curse Breakers trilogy, which starts with A Curse of Dark and Lonely, I highly recommend. It was so good. It's amazing. I love the characters. They're so cute. And yeah, I also have a vlog for this. It has spoilers for the first two books, so if you've read at least the first two books, I'll link it up here so you can check it out. But yeah, so the next book are books that I finished the first half of this month, March. So the first book I'm gonna talk about is Cinderella Is Dead by Caitlin Barron. I started this, I believe, yeah, in February. I ended up finishing it early this month. I think I finished on the 1st of March, whatever. Anyway, so what this book is about, this book, in this world, the Cinderella story has happened, and it's been 200 years since that has happened. And now, to keep the tradition alive, every year they hold a ball where every eligible lady has to go to this ball. The men, they can go if they want to, but at this ball, pretty much the men that show up, they get to choose a bride, which is just like, there's so much that happened. This I'm linking up here my vlog for this. It started off really good. I really enjoyed it at the beginning, and then towards the middle, the end was all right, and then the middle was just like, what? Just because there were things that happened and things that didn't happen that I was just like, what? But if you enjoy, like, it's not really a retelling, it's more like a twist on it. It's more of a, because it's not like Cinderella story. This follows Sophia, and in Cinderella's world and what's happening to this world 200 years after. And then also the story of Cinderella, you know, it's not the story that actually happened. This book talks about that and trying to discover like what actually happened to Cinderella. So yeah, I felt like this was like a really great concept, but in certain points it just missed the mark. And I don't know what like plot holes, but it was just like, I don't know how to describe it without spoiling. Like the main thing that bothered me, I'm not gonna say it because I think it's a spoiler, but this is one thing that really bothered me that made no sense. Don't know why the characters decided to do that, and I was just like, what is happening? So yeah, I gave it 3 stars. So it wasn't completely horrible. It was just like the one thing that like really bothered me. It was also this other thing that I was like, what's the point of that? It was cool, but I'm like, what was the point of it? Because it didn't add much to the plot in a way. That's all I'm gonna say. Whatever. But yeah, 3 stars. It wasn't, I enjoyed parts of it, so 3 stars. Then the last book that I was able to read by the end of winter was Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo. So in this book, I now understand why people do not like Mal. He was so annoying in this book, and I'm like, boy, can you not? But again, I went into this book with 0 expectations, and I see what people talk about, how like not much happens in this book, and pretty much Nikolai, love him. There were some things that he did that was just like, really? But every character has their flaws, so you can't expect somebody to be perfect, even though I'm pretty sure he thinks he's perfect. But Nikolai loved him. He pretty much carried this book. So yeah, I'm currently reading Ruin and Rising, so look out for, I don't know, be my next vlog. I don't know if in a few vlogs. I think two more vlogs. I think it'll be one more vlog, and then for Siege and Storm, I haven't posted it yet, but there is a vlog for that, and then I'll post my vlog for Ruin and Rising. So yes, those are all the books that I read this winter. Please let me know down below if you read any of these books and your thoughts about them. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like so I can know what kind of videos I should post on here. And like always, all of my social media links will be linked down below in the description box. I'm also gonna link some resources to help out the Asian community during, like, I know everybody knows what is happening, which is just like I don't want to go into it, but yeah, I'm linking down some links down below, some articles where you can find just like information to learn more, and donations and all that kind of stuff. So please check those out down below, and I'll catch you guys here next time on Yari Hearts Books. Bye.